Welcome to another Baka commentary video. In this video, we'll be basically me doing analysis and impression of basically the current state of Intel as everyone and their mom seems to be right now in the tech content creator sphere seems to be like, yeah, let's hop on this analysis Intel hop train. So, first off, let me do a simple explanation on how the legacy of Intel. Intel was started in the x86 boom era where basically everyone was able to be like, hey, this x86 hype train, let's go make a company and make as much profit and make our valuation go as sky high as possible. And when that happened, and when that was reached, the bubble popped. This resulted in quite a lot of x86 companies just went outright bank who owned the rights of x86 just went, yeah, we can't, we are bankrupt, and oh yeah, and due to the fact that in quite a lot of these companies acquired a lot of big debt, some x86 license holders just simply did not find new owners, and result, a lot of those companies went zero, disappeared off the face of Earth. Intel is kind of the last bastion of this from this old legacy Intel, x86 bubble era. This on top of a few anti-competitive behavior they have gone in the past have gotten them into this mega mainstream conglomerate giant that is the crown. But unfortunately, as of 2025, they have lost the crown and simply bleeding out. The current state of Intel is pretty dire, as the current leadership is like, look, we can't afford to have all these foundry, and as a result, and for certain designs are like, yeah, we can't have all these projects going all at once. So a lot of Intel design again got cancelled. What on top of again, quite a lot of foundry was also being cancelled. Quite most of those foundries were like, okay, yeah, if it is not illegal for us to cancel it, we are probably gonna cancel it. And oh yeah, again, this has kind of probably done with the lawyers department and be like, hey, yeah, it's okay to cancel these type of boundaries from these country. It's not okay to do these. They probably went and talked with the lawyers and accountants and be like, here's the stuff that we can cancel that is already being subsidized by the government, by the EU Chip Act and the US Chip Act, and here's the foundry that's like, yeah, it's not okay for us to cancel it. In my opinion, as a result, this would have the kind of like damaged bit of the overall industry of the tech sector overall, as right now there's several sectors of that in the tech sector like RISC-V that would have benefited way more from a lot of foundry of like some of the money that might be like, yeah, that would be help them design, as RISC-V right now is in its very high risk phase where a lot of companies can go fail right now, even though they have a lot of good potential. The problem is quite a lot of the people debtors, they don't care about the long term. They just want their fucking money back with interest, and some of them like know these are short term, and I bet you some of these money that Intel and a lot of these company was given out to them, they probably could have been allocated to these RISC-V startups and helped them to manage their short term and hopefully get them to the long term phase where it actually makes them competitive among the market. But what's done is done. This on top of what Intel is trying to stop the bleeding of Intel on the book, on the money wise, is, well, for non-Intel core businesses, they seem to be went, okay, these non-core businesses, these things will be spun up into its own company, and we'll have Intel, we themselves, we are still going to be the majority major shareholders of like 40%, control the 40% of it, and the other 60% we will sell it out to our other shareholders that we so call them co-partnership. And we, Intel, are still, even though we only own 40%, we are still, they probably be like, yeah, you co-partners, you're probably not allowed to buy more than 40% of it, or you are allowed to buy more, but we still are in the major voting power of Intel. And basically what Intel has done with the non-core business, we just went, okay, let's have other people pull their money in on top of our Intel money, and oh yeah, in return, if the subsector that you bought into makes profit, okay, let's share the profit with both Intel and their co-partners. This, in my opinion, is, well, Intel playing, be like, okay, let's get some quick cash injection in the short term, and in long term, we can probably deal with the less having to share some profit margin when it inevitably happens. But yeah, overall, let's get some short-term gain. Long-term, we'll get there when they get there. And as for the core businesses, it seems like they're not letting partners or anyone else buy it, but other than government. So far, the only government that is approved or Intel is like, yeah, you can go and buy, it seems to be, the United States. The United States right now seems to be like, hey man, with our chip act, you canceled few of our foundry. Hey, guess what? We're gonna try and save those foundries by buying you into the company and hopefully try and salvage what's left of the foundry and be like, hey, no more canceling these foundries. We need them for, well, for United States. And basically, yeah. Overall, I do believe this United States buying, shares percentage like this 10% of into Intel is rather of them in America be like, we want to guarantee R&D and all these test nodes and all these bleeding edge and all latest nodes to be, or at some extent, be in the United States. And we want to guarantee we are not going to have to do the pain process of, hey, we have designed this product into a leading edge node, and oh yeah, we're gonna have to backport it onto a less efficient node, which tends to happen with the less bleeding edge nodes or the less mature node, like the older nodes, which is a lot less efficient, basically it costs the more money for the product maker to be like, oh yeah, it costs us more money to backport it. Why not? Yes, we will have we can guarantee of, oh hey, we have this Intel bleeding edge foundry. Okay, if the overseas, non-US is not a viable thing, okay, we can immediately quick, swap to the US Intel foundry design and be like, yep, we're back and running really easily. Probably this tends to be able to cater to within the design phase, and basically it might only, instead of taking years and multiple years, it might be only take like half a year or even 1 year, from what I can tell, be like majority of time of like, if you extra years of design team, if you have designed it ground up to be like, oh hey, we have one design for foreign bleeding edge foundry and one design for the Intel bleeding edge foundry. And yeah, hence why I think in USA is really pushing this chip act and buying parts of Intel. Overall, again, that brings the end to another Baka commentary. If you do like these videos, do the typical like, share, subscribe, and basically things. And I will see you guys in the next video.